Welcome everybody to the My Big Campus for Beginners webinar. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mary Carnahan and I'm from the Office of E-Learning at the Department of Education, and I'm going to get us started today, and then I will turn it over to a My Big Campus expert, Rachel Porter, who will lead us through the webinar. But just a couple of housekeeping things to begin with. Again, thank you to everybody who has joined us, and hopefully you all have had a chance to open up your chat box. If you haven't, I'll talk you through that real quick, and you will need to do this again after Rachel starts her slideshow. So you will need to mouse over that green bar at the top of the screen and just click on chat, and that will open up the chat box at the side. Please introduce yourself. Make sure when you are submitting messages to that chat box that you select to send to everyone. Chances are it will set to default to just send to me as the host, but we want everybody to be able to see your comments and your questions, so please use that chat box. Please use that chat box for a couple of things: to send questions to Rachel throughout the webinar, and she will either answer those during the webinar, or we will have some time at the end, some Q&A time at the end. So I will keep track of questions, and if she doesn't get any answered, then we will get those answered at the end. Also, use it as like a back channel to send ideas, ways that you might already be using My Big Campus, or ways that you're thinking about using My Big Campus. Share those with other participants, or ask other participants how they're doing something. Please use that to talk amongst yourselves also. And there's audio connection information there, but if you're hearing me, you don't need that. So we'll move on to some other things that we have going on in the Office of E-Learning right now. We've been doing weekly webinars this month to get the school year started off, so we've got one more webinar next Thursday at the same time. It will be My Big Campus and NROC, so that should be a neat opportunity to hear more about another way to get some online curriculum into your classroom. Also, hopefully everybody is coming in muted. As I hear sounds, I will remute people, so please leave your line muted so that we don't have background noise. Thanks for that. The other thing that we have going on, and it seems very appropriate to mention this on the day of Teach Like a Pirate, or Talk Like a Pirate Day, we just started our fall book group, which we are reading Teach Like a Pirate by Dave Burgess. It is not too late to participate in that. We started this past Monday, but it is definitely not too late. This week was just an introduction. Next week we're going to start into the book itself. I see Libby got the book. Yay, thank you, Libby. So please feel free to participate in that. It should be a really exciting time. There have been some neat things online already about that book, and I'm excited for Indiana to get involved. And if you're wondering how to get more information about these things, then here is how you can do that. The Department of Education website recently went through a little change, so it looks different. We're getting used to it, as well as the field, so we are working our way through also. But now a really quick way to get to us, if you're on the home page of the Department of Education, is you can just type in e-learning in that search box, and that will give you a link directly to our page. Or I didn't share our URL, but it's just doe.in.gov/e-learning, and I'll enter that in the chat window. To find out about our professional development opportunities, such as these webinars and the book group, you can click on professional development there on the left side of the screen. And we also have a link to the 21st Century Learning Lab, which we archive all of these webinars, and we are recording this webinar today, and it will be available hopefully late next week, depending on how things go with the archiving. The other fun opportunity that we have is each week we have a Twitter chat on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I see that I don't have the time on there on this screen, but it is at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and the topic this week is making the move from traditional content to digital content. So we would love to see some of you back online this evening to participate in that Twitter chat. It's a pretty low-key, great entry-level Twitter chat if you're just, entering that world. So without further ado, we are going to move on to our topic for the day, which is My Big Campus for Beginners, and our presenter is Rachel Porter, and she is the Digital Curriculum Integration Specialist with Southwest Parke. And Rachel, as you unmute yourself, I am going to turn things over to you. And like I said, after Rachel takes control of things, you all will need to open up the chat window again because you will lose that as we move over to her. So Rachel?
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Okay. Yep, I can. So it is all yours. And as I said, everybody, please submit questions to the chat box, and we'll talk about those at the end of the presentation. And the floor is yours, Rachel. Thank you.
Okay, and Mary, can you see my Big Campus screen? I just want to make sure I shared everything correctly.
Yep, I can hear you, and I can see your screen. You're good.
All right, wonderful. Well, my name is Rachel Porter, and I am a junior high science teacher of 16 years, and about a year and a half ago, I switched roles into Digital Curriculum Integration Specialist. Fancy title for basically I'm an e-learning coach, but we really wanted to focus on the fact that technology and curriculum need to be married to each other, and they need to work together. And so I cover both of those areas for Southwest Parke Schools. We're a little bit north of Terre Haute in Parke County, Indiana. So a little tiny rural school, but we're doing really big things, and we're using My Big Campus to do it. So I'm excited to share with you about My Big Campus today. I've been a coach for My Big Campus for about a year and a half, and I really enjoy sharing all the great things that you can do with this virtual learning environment. So today I'm just going to basically give you an overview. I saw in the chat window that most of you are brand new to My Big Campus, never have used it, no experience with it at all, and that's perfect for this particular webinar because we're going to take a tour of the site and we're going to talk about most of the really big key features of things that you can do with My Big Campus. We're not going to get into how do you actually do those things. That would need to be the subject of another training or another webinar to get into the details of actually how to carry that out. So this is mostly about just learning what can be done. I always like to caution people not to get overwhelmed by that because there are a lot of things that you can do with My Big Campus, but you're not going to do them all overnight. It's a process, and at the end of our session today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some recommendations for how to get started. I think My Big Campus is very easy to learn how to use, very easy to get started with, but some teachers feel like they have to use all of its features right from the beginning, and that would be a little overwhelming. So we'll talk about where to dive in and how to start using it with students at the end. But as you're listening to all these features, you might think about where do you see it working into your class? Which features stand out to you as things that you'd really like to learn how to do or that you can see being particularly useful with the course that you teach? So that being said, I guess the first thing to talk about is why use My Big Campus at all? Why choose this learning environment out of all the learning environments that are out there? And some of you may not have had a choice. Maybe it's what your school has adopted, which I would say, yay, that's great, because I think it's the best one out there. And it's not only because of its format, it's easy to use, it's colorful, it appeals to students and to teachers alike. It kind of mimics some social learning platforms, or it is a social learning platform, but it mimics things like Facebook and Twitter a little bit. But it's also a safe learning environment. And, you know, we can go round and round with the debate about opening things up and locking things down. But the truth of the matter is, you know, we are under obligation to keep our students safe. And My Big Campus allows us to teach them digital citizenship in a safe environment rather than just throwing them out there and hoping nothing bad, really bad ever happens. So that would be my little plug for why My Big Campus is one of the best learning or the best learning platform that you can choose. So that being said, I'm just going to start working my way through these different features. I'm not going to necessarily go in a linear down the row order here because I want to make sure that we hit on the heavy hitters, and then we'll go back to some of the features that you might not use quite as much in My Big Campus. I do want to start with the activity feed. When you first log in to My Big Campus, you'll see something like this. And this is kind of like your news feed on Facebook. It's everything that's been posted by somebody that you are connected to in My Big Campus. Maybe you are in a group with them, or maybe you are following them, but when they post things, you'll see it in your activity feed. And it's a constantly growing thing with the most recent on top. So it's really great because these are all shortcuts. If I want to go to Chrissy's profile, I can click on her name. Right here, she's posted this as part of a discussion, so I could click that to shortcut to that discussion, or I could respond to her post right here with this box. I do want to throw out this caution because I find a lot of people are confused by this. This is not where I would really want to communicate with my students. You'd want to do that in groups, which is what we're going to go to next and take a look at. This is really, if you wanted to post something here, it'd really be more like a status update. You wouldn't want to give students an assignment in this activity feed. You'd really want to go to the group and give that there. So I just want to throw that out while we're on this particular page. So let's go ahead and go to groups. This is really where the heart of what you're going to do with your students is going to all stem from creating them into groups by classes. So when I go here, you can see thumbnails of all the groups that I'm a member of, and my list is pretty extensive, so it's kind of nice that I can switch it to a list view, or I can search it for a particular group. And I'm going to do that right now. Oops, apparently not correctly. So I created a training group specifically for today's purposes, and so that you can find this and join this and post discussions and questions to this later on, and we'll refer back to this before the end of the webinar. But I want to just go ahead and go here so I can show you all the features of what we have in a group. A group you would set up for each class that you have, and depending on how your school is using My Big Campus, your groups for your classes may already actually be set up for you. If they're not, it is a very, very simple process to do. You'll have a group up and running in a couple of minutes. Very quick process to do that. But in our group, we have all of these options across the top. So I just wanted to show them all to you right now. Here's my home page, and I can put all kinds of content on here. I could embed videos in this and lots of different types of content. It's just simply a page, kind of like a wiki type page. There's an announcement section, which is great for reminding students that they have a project coming up that's due, or just sending out any sort of little announcement. You can also attach things to your announcements, and comments can be made on them as well. So really good communication tool with your students there. The discussions area is a place where you can devise a number of different discussions and they're all threaded. So I've started one here for us to use today, questions about using My Big Campus. And this is where you can post, and again, there's a hierarchy. So once you send in a post, I could reply to that particular post. And once again, we can attach a good number of different items to that as well. Very, very useful tool. I use this in professional development a lot. Every time we have a new tool, I open up a discussion board for that, and it's a place where people can post their questions, their ideas about how to use it, and we can keep that dialogue open throughout multiple school years. The chat area is exactly what it says. It's chat. It is a place where you can have just a linear discussion, just like the chat we've got going for this webinar over on the side. And you can even enable a video chat. This does have to be initiated by the group owner, which is one of the safety features. Kids can't get on here and video chat with each other at night or something like that. And it does archive everything that's posted. So just some of the safety features that are there. I like to take the chat tab as an opportunity to tell you that In groups, you can turn off any of these tabs that you don't want to use. A lot of teachers are really not comfortable with this chat tab, and so it just makes them nervous. They're afraid something's going to be posted there that they don't want, and so they just turn it off, and this tab just doesn't even appear in their group. And you can actually do that with any of these tabs. The pages area, I just have one page right now in this group, and it's the same page that you saw on the home screen as soon as we went to this group. So pages you can create, you can even nest pages within other pages and create templates of pages. I know some teachers will make a page for each class day, and they will, each day they'll go in and make the current page or current day's lesson their home page on their group. So it's just one of the many things that you can do with pages. The resources section is a great place where you can post any resource you want for your students. You can direct them to something from the library, anything that you have in your collection, and we're going to go into those areas in just a few minutes. You can post PDFs or documents of any sort. A lot of teachers put like their class presentations, PowerPoints, keynotes into this resources section. You can organize it into folders, so you can have Unit 1, Unit 2, just a good place for you to store the materials that your students may need to see. This is your calendar, and this calendar is specific just to this particular group. We're going to look at this calendar section over here a little bit later that will pull all of your groups together. But if you assign something to this group, it will show up, the due date for it will show up into this calendar as well. And then this last section is just a list of the members. Hi, Libby. Libby's already joined this group. So I will encourage you to become a member of this particular group, because this will be a place where you can post questions later on. You know, in a webinar situation like this, especially with those of you who are brand new users to My Big Campus, you may come up with some questions right now in the next, 40 minutes, but more than likely you're going to have questions later when you actually start using My Big Campus more. And so if you will join this group, then you can go here to this discussion thread and post your question, and I can answer you on that, or Libby can jump in too. She's a big My Big Campus gal. So we would love to be able to support you in that, and this will be a good way for you to do that after this webinar is over. So to find this group, if you will just search at the top, Mrs. Porter and MBC, I believe, will be enough for you to find it. You'll see this red box, if it's the right one, pop up. And once you find the group, there's a little button that says Join with Code. And if you enter the code, and this is right here on the screen, but it's also on the home page, which I believe you'll be able to see. And you can join with the code, and you can automatically become a member of this group and be able to post your questions later on here. And also the resources section, I have placed some materials for you, and I'll remind you of that later on as well. Okay, so I'm going to pause just a second. I haven't had a chance to even look at our chat window. So it looks like Mary's keeping track of it for me. So hopefully I'll get your questions answered, and if not, we will definitely address them at the end of our webinar here. Okay, so in announcements and discussions, these are kind of your primary ways of really communicating with the students in your class, but these would all be kind of whole class public sort of places to communicate. If you wanted to communicate with an individual student, you would want to do that in messages. So I'm going to go over here to the message section. This is basically email within My Big Campus, and it's very simple to use. Compose a new message. We can type in the name of who it goes to. We can type our message here. We can put in links. We can attach items. And this is private. Now, I do caution that nothing is truly private in My Big Campus. That's part of the safety behind this. I doubt your administrators have time to sit around and read through things, but if they were alerted to any sort of a problem, they certainly could. So just wanted to point that out as well. Okay, now we're going to move on to schoolwork. This is a very powerful section of My Big Campus. Schoolwork has a huge number of different features, and it's greatly expanded in the last year or so. I want to just show you a sample schoolwork just so you can kind of see the benefits of doing things through My Big Campus. So here's just a very simple quiz that I gave to some of our students about My Big Campus itself. And so you can easily see their answers and whether they scored it correctly or incorrectly. You can also adjust their points if you feel that's necessary. And these were mostly multiple choice and true-false questions here, but I'm going to show you in a second all the different types that you can use. You can quickly see their score. You can give them feedback, which I think is really important. You can actually make them retake it, which I think is a good feature as well. Attach a file, maybe a rubric that you've marked on that you want to attach them their results of your evaluation. Go back up here to the top. Let's switch over to the live reports because this will show you some of the statistics and the use of schoolwork. It's going. I need a little song to sing while my pages are loading sometimes. Okay, so this shows me very quickly in a very graphically visual way which students haven't submitted this, and I have this wonderful little send reminder button that I can send them a little notice that they have schoolwork that they haven't taken care of yet. Here's a couple students who have submitted it, and I can, of course, quickly see their results. I can see if I allowed them to submit it more than once, I can see how many times and when they have done that as well. If you would rather see this in a little more text-based format where you can see more students at once, you have that option as well, of course. You can just very quickly see where your students are. And at the end is a list of the students who have not submitted it at all. Very handy. And then I love this one, the question stats, where you can very quickly see the results of everyone you've assigned this to compiled together. So very good place if you're using this for a formative assessment in the middle of class to decide if you need to reteach something. You've got a very quick visual that allows you to assess that very easily. So those are just some of the nice features looking at the schoolwork. I'm going to go back to the main schoolwork page, and I'm going to go into Create so I can show you all the different types, different kinds of schoolwork that My Big Campus offers. This little question mark over here, if you hover over it, it does show you kind of a definition of how My Big Campus defines a practice quiz versus a regular quiz or an assignment. So you can kind of see the different types of options. I really like the simple assignment that has been added because sometimes you don't really have a lot of questions for them to answer. You just want to tell them to go do something, and you maybe attach a file or a bundle or some other thing to this, and you want them to go watch it. And so simple assignment is a really good choice for that. I'm just going to get to the next screen here so I can show you the questions. All these different types of questions are currently available. Essay, multiple choice, multiple select, true, false, fill in the blank. File upload is great if you want students to maybe compose something in a word processing program or a spreadsheet or make a PowerPoint, and then you want them to upload that along with their assignment to submit it to you. Or you can do a combination where they have a responsive text box that they can type into, but they can also upload a file. Question banks too, you can create banks and then pull questions from those for a new schoolwork assignment. One last quick thing, you can import, a lot of schools use ExamView. It's huge with a lot of textbook things, so you can import questions from ExamView. You have to export them from ExamView into a file, and then you can import them into Schoolwork, which could be a huge, huge time saver if you've already created a lot of assessments with ExamView. I want to move on to the library, because I think this is a tremendous resource in My Big Campus. The library alone could be reason you want to get started using this immediately with your students, because it has been growing for several years now, and the amount of content contained here is just absolutely massive. And this is another thing that really sets My Big Campus apart from a lot of other virtual learning environments. Most of them don't have a database library of resources built into them. It's only the things that you add yourself. So I just want to show you everything that's available here, starting with bundles. And bundles are probably my absolute favorite feature of My Big Campus. It is simply a collection of all kinds of different resources that you might want to use, everything from videos to schoolwork to files. You can put images in or text content. We're just going to collect all these different things that we want the students to see into one organized linear flow that they can work their way through. So we certainly have some that have just popped up right here, but you can also search the library. Now I do want to point this out because I see a lot of people make this mistake. This search box is for all of My Big Campus, and you can certainly use that, but you'll probably get better results if you search right within this search the library box. So I'm going to search for earthquakes, science teacher here. And you're getting right now all the results for the whole library right here, but you can narrow this down. And I'm going to narrow it down to bundles at the moment. You have a lot of other filters that you can apply as well. So I'm going to search, and these are all strictly bundles created all about earthquakes. And I may find something here that's just perfect for me to start using immediately with my students, and it saves me the time of having to create something from scratch myself. So I want to take a look at this one real quick, just to give you an example of what can be in a bundle. This person has uploaded a PowerPoint presentation, a notes probably taking document there, there's a vocabulary list. There's some links to some websites and some activities, flashcards, and then there's some NBC Learn content that they've included as well. And as Mary told you, there is NBC Learn and NROC webinar coming up soon. And you might want to take a look at that because the NBC Learn material is absolutely incredible, and you can pull it right into a bundle for your students to access very quickly. Or for you just to use in your direct instruction. It's just nice to be able to pull everything you want to show the students together into one place. And then there's another activity here as well. You can also pull in schoolwork so that maybe the students work through their instructional materials and then they go take an assessment at the end as well. So bundles are huge. Definitely my favorite. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. Definitely my favorite thing that you can do. This particular bundle on this earthquakes unit, I could use it directly as it is, of course, created by Brooke West. But I can also make a copy of it. Maybe I love this bundle, but I want to swap out my own presentation, or I want to take out something or add something of my own. I can do that by clicking this branch button. And this will give you your own copy of the bundle that you can then edit, and then you can use your version of it with your students. So really wonderful resource to be able to get you started there. Going back to the library, there's certainly lots of other content as well, videos, and then if you find a video, you can certainly pull that into a bundle that you're creating. The documents section, this is going to include everything from a Word document, PDFs, PowerPoints, spreadsheets, just images. Those are all found listed as documents. Lots and lots and lots of websites. Here's just an example too. This obviously is a BrainPop video. Some of these are linking to things that are paid content, but it can alert you to something great that's out there. And then if you have a subscription to BrainPop, you can certainly have a quick link to a very specific video. This is one of my favorite new features too of My Big Campus. It now in the library includes schoolwork, where teachers who have created schoolwork can publish it to the library so that other teachers can use it as well. So you may look through here or do a search in the library, and maybe you're working on parts of speech and you find that somebody's created this amazing review quiz and you really like it and you could certainly use it. So when you bring this up, you can just click duplicate, and once again, just like the bundle, it's going to give you your own copy that you can edit, as you need to fit your class and then assign to your students. So just wonderful to see all the resources that are already created. Definitely a good way to get started. Of course, you can definitely create your own materials as well, but definitely worth the time to take a look at what's already published out there that may save you a whole lot of time. Okay, let's take a look at Drive. Drive is just online storage for My Big Campus, and some of these folders are things that I have added myself. You can create your own folders to organize your content, but I'll just go through the ones that you will see when you go to Drive. The Bundles folder is going to contain all the bundles that you have created yourself. Documents is files that you've uploaded. Definitely if you had a My Big Campus account prior to this summer's big release, everything that you had stored in My Stuff, is what we used to call it, has been transferred over into this Documents folder. This is one I've added. This Library folder, if you find something in the library that you love, I just want to show you this real quick. Let me just go to a video here. Let's say I find this video and I just think that this is the greatest thing ever and I want to use this in the future. I can click this Add to Drive button, and if I do that, and then I go back to Drive, it'll be right here in this library folder. Obviously, I've added quite a few things, but there's the one that I just added. So that's a really great thing as well. There's also this wonderful new feature where if I check this off, let's say I want my students to watch this video, I can check this off and I can click Assign, and then I can choose the group that I want to assign this to, and I can set some parameters, you know, about when I want it to start and end, and how many times I want them to do it, and those kind of things. But if I just simply want them to watch this video, I've got it labeled as a task, and they're just going to go watch it and then let me know that they've finished watching it, and I'll get a nice list like that. Oh, I didn't type in a title. I always miss that box. But you can just type in all the information and click Save, and then it'll assign that to your students as something that they need to do. They'll receive a little blue indication here that they have schoolwork that they need to complete when you do that. So that's the library folder. My Big Campus Documents, this is basically online word processing. You don't need Microsoft Word anymore. You can just do it all from right inside My Big Campus Documents. We have this Create button up here, and you can click on MBC Doc, and you just get this nice word processing platform. It is shareable, so that you can share it with your students. They can share things with you. You can both edit them. It's very similar to Google Docs. The only difference is that it is not live. You can't have two people editing it at the same time like you can in Google Docs. But definitely a very usable option there for word processing. Go back to my main Drive folder. Shared with me, if somebody shares a My Big Campus document with me, or they can also share a bundle with me, and those things would appear in this folder. There's a Schoolwork folder to take you to all of your Schoolwork files as well. And most of the rest of this is just stuff that I have added in. So that's Drive. It's just a place to collect all of your materials within My Big Campus. Okay, let's go back up here to EdGTalk. EdGTalk is basically like a Twitter feed. It's a place, this is for educators only. So students, when they log in, they don't see this cute little owl guy. This is just for staff. And this is a good place for you to connect with other people across other districts and communicate with them. You can also connect this with your Twitter account. So if I tweet something, it goes to my Twitter feed, but it also shows up here in EdGTalk on My Big Campus. So it's just kind of a nice little feature for growing your professional learning network. This calendar button will show me all of my calendar items together in one place. So each group that I'm a part of has its own calendar, and this is compiling all of those together for me. So that's really wonderful for students where they could see that, oh, I have 3 tests on Friday. in 3 different classes that I need to be prepared for. Your profile is just basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a page about you that you have your own wall. Again, probably not a good place for communicating with a class as a whole. You'd have to go to every kid's wall, but you could go to an individual student's wall and communicate with them or another staff member. I use this a lot when I want to make sure I send a bundle to a teacher or a link or something. I just go to their wall and post it there because you can attach items there. You can upload profile photos. You can follow people on My Big Campus. I don't emphasize this part a whole lot because, like I said, most of your communication is going to happen within your groups. But for an example, if there's another teacher in another district that you've connected with at a conference and you want to be able to stay in touch with and see what they're doing, you might choose to follow them. Just to give you an example of that, if I just click on somebody, click on their name, there's a button here that'll say follow, and I'm already following Janice, so it says following. But when I click that button, then anything that that person posts, I would be able to see in my activity feed as well. Also here on the profile, there is a blog option. Some schools are really using this blogging option. Janice hasn't made any yet, but this is a good place for maybe journaling. There are a lot of different applications you could do with your students through their blogs on My Big Campus. Okay, I want to quickly go over these options up here at the top and what they have to offer. This My Big Campus logo will just always get you back to the main page. Of course, the activity button would do that as well. This will allow you to search all My Big Campus, and you can search for My Big Campus users. You can search for groups that way. You can search for content all through this search box. The Create button is a nice little shortcut to the 3 things that you are most likely to create, either schoolwork, a new schoolwork assignment, My Big Campus document, or to create your own bundle. I use this feature a lot. This is Quick Links. It's just a little way to bookmark a certain page in My Big Campus that you might want to go to frequently. So if I click on mine, you can see that that training group that I pointed you to earlier is right here in my Quick Links. And the advantage to that is you saw my list of groups. It's pretty huge. And I don't want to have to search through that to find this particular group because I may go there a lot. So when I go to a page, I can add the page to Quick Links, and then I have this list of the things that I go to the most often. It's just a little shortcut that makes it faster to get there. This little red box are my notifications. These are letting me know of just the most recent activity, and it does have links in it, so you can use those notifications as a shortcut to go find something that somebody posted. So, you know, this person added a discussion. Rather than going and finding that group and going to the discussions tab and finding this post, I can use my notifications to go directly there. So that's a nice feature as well. And then, of course, here are my individual account information. This is where I would go to change my notification settings. I find a lot of teachers don't like getting a zillion emails every time something is posted on My Big Campus. So you can go in and change those preferences. You can change your picture. Those kind of things can be done here in that account area. Okay, so I just want to talk for a minute before we turn it over to questions, and I have kind of seen out of the corner of my eye that the chat feed is moving a bit, so hopefully we do have some good questions over there. But before we do that, I just want to talk about how do you get started with this. You know, I just went over a whole lot of different features and ways that you can use it. So where do you start? The best recommendation I can give you is to start by creating a group. You want a group for your class, and like I said, your school may have generated your class groups for you. You may already have them, but if you don't, it is so easy to do. You simply go to this Create New Group button. You give it a title. You won't have to select your school probably. I'm a district user, so I have that option. You give it, you know, a description, type in a much better one than that, I hope. You can choose a specific photo to represent the group if you'd like. You can leave that blank as well. And then you just click Save, and your group is created. Now, it doesn't have any members in it yet. What I usually do with students is I just go to the members area. I can get this page to load here. And I start typing the names of students in my roster. And as I start typing, it pops up their names. I click on their name and then click Add Users. And I can do multiple students at once, so I can just very easily start typing. Okay, I'm striking out here, but I can just start typing the names of the kids in my roster, and within a minute I've got all of my students added. You can also add them in the same way I directed you earlier, where you create a code that auto-joins them, and they can join that way. I would not recommend doing it that way because they can also leave your group without your permission, so you may not want to have students join in that manner. You might just want to add them in as members, but it's very easy to do. In terms of actually how do I start using this with my students, I think that the easiest way to get started is to create a discussion. Think of some way that you can extend what you've been doing in class, what you've been learning in class, into a discussion. Post that here. And that's also very simple to do. You just have a few boxes to fill in, and again, you can attach items, videos, pictures, whatever you need to here, and then students can start interacting. And it's really impressive to see some of the things that they usually post. So that's probably the easiest way to get started. Beyond that, I would probably look in the library for a great bundle that fits what we're studying, and I would share that with students. And then maybe you want to start creating your own bundles that are specific to what you're doing, or then you can move into schoolwork. So just little baby steps of starting to use the program more and more, and once you start doing that, you're going to be just in love with it and ready to keep going deeper and deeper with it. Last thing I want to do is point you to some resources. I'm going to go back to that group, and I'm going to show you again how to find it in case you didn't find it before. Where you're just going to search for Mrs. Porter MBC, and you should be able to find under groups this red one with the red graphic there, and then you can join with the code that I have listed here, and I'm just going to leave this up on the screen for a while so that will help you hopefully. Right here I've given you the My Big Campus Orientation Center. This is a topic that they've created that has tons of training materials available in it, and you can shortcut straight to whichever of these areas applies to you to start getting the training materials that you need to learn how to actually do all these things that I've shown you today. In the resources section of this group, I have placed for you a few of my own materials. There's a My Big Campus teacher training bundle that walks through the main areas of how to do different things in My Big Campus. And then there's also one I've created that's for students. I just found that students needed to know a few things about My Big Campus as well, things like how to log in and how to differentiate this from Facebook. You know, when students first start using My Big Campus, they immediately think, oh, this is like Facebook, and so they just want to post on people's walls and things like that. And so I have some instructions for students collected into a bundle as well. I am in the process of updating that to match the new format of My Big Campus, but that resource is available to you. And then there's also a handout that I have made that some people have found to be helpful, especially in trainings, and it's just a PDF, but it walks through the different areas of My Big Campus, kind of like I just did in this webinar, and it just gives you a brief description of each area so that you kind of helps you know where to go to find different things. So all those materials are available to you. I really encourage you to post in the discussions group any questions that you have beyond this webinar time that we have together so that I can continue to help you as you are starting to get to know My Big Campus. So with that, I'm going to take a look at our chat feed, and hopefully I'm going to turn it back over to Mary so that she can let me know what questions have been posted that I have not addressed.
All righty. Thank you very much, Rachel. Yeah, I guess you could start from the bottom. Libby, thank you very much, has been doing an excellent job of answering some questions.
Thank you, Libby.
Yay, Libby. As you guys are entering questions, please make sure you select to send to everyone, because if you just send it to me, then Rachel doesn't see the questions, and Libby doesn't see the questions, and the whole group doesn't. So one question that just came in that just came to me was, is there anything from the activity messages or groups? Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. That'll be a catch-up on the recording question. Okay, and somebody asked, Thomas asked about advantages that people have seen comparing My Big Campus with other learning or content management systems, and that would be a good thing for other people on the call to share. If anybody has used something and now they're moving to My Big Campus, that would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope some people will post some thoughts there on that. One thing that I will mention is that I have worked with a lot of people who have moved from Angel to My Big Campus, and it's a huge shift because the two platforms are very different in terms of how things are laid out and how they're used. But one comment that I have heard over and over and over again is that students enjoy using My Big Campus because it's designed as a social learning platform rather than, it's not as academic looking. And things like Moodle and Angel, Blackboard, they're extremely academic looking, and it changes the whole perception that students have when they become engaged with it. I just find that students want to get on My Big Campus. They want to use materials within it, whereas they view things like Angel and Blackboard more as just a textbook.
Let's see. Okay, somebody asked if students can upload their own videos and pictures. I was looking to see if Libby answered that, but you can go ahead and speak to that. And then they also asked if students can view and comment on other students' pictures or video.
They can. A lot of that depends on your administrator's settings, what they have allowed students to be able to do. We have ours set so that students can only message teachers through messages. You can turn off their ability to post on other students' walls, and Libby and Chrissy, you can correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, but I believe that that is true. The other great thing is that My Big Campus is constantly monitored. So if students are going to another student's wall and posting something stupid, if there's anything inappropriate at all, My Big Campus will catch that. And they do it pretty quickly, and I think it's wonderful the way they incorporate that digital citizenship component into it, because the student will immediately get a message from Bob Campus that says, you know, this platform is for learning and we don't bully people here, we don't say negative things, and it's very well done, and the students get the message. And sometimes they receive that message so much better because it is coming from My Big Campus as opposed to from their teacher. Of course, teachers could do that as well and delete comments. Students can also report abuse if they see something posted that they feel is inappropriate. They can report that as well.
Okay, and that,
yes, they can.
That relates. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say yes, they can upload pictures and videos. Again, it's all filtered and monitored. If there's too much flesh tone in the picture, the computer will catch that and it will hold the picture and not release it. So My Big Campus just has a lot of those kind of safety precautions built into it.
Okay, and that kind of relates to a question early on that was, can comments be previewed before they are posted? So can a teacher preview comments before they are posted to the site?
I don't believe there is that feature available. Maybe Libby and Chrissy can weigh in here, but I don't recall any place that I can see where they can preview that and then approve it, kind of like you have on some blog features. I know what you're talking about, but I don't think that that's an option in My Big Campus.
Okay, and that's what I was thinking. We've got blogs and Blogger, and you can set it up that way too. You can either have it open so that anybody can comment and the comments are posted automatically, or you can have them notify you. You then say, yes, post that comment. So that might be what people are comparing it to. Okay, thank you for linking directly to the group, because a few people have said that they've had problems getting in to your group. So thank you for posting that direct link.
Yes, and those of you who just requested to join, I just approved those. So you should be able to see my group now.
Okay, and a few people have asked about grade books. Is this in any way, okay, so I guess it's a two-part question. Can assignments be posted in here and then graded? Can the parents, it's a couple-part question, can parents view the grades, and can the grades be then imported into an outside gradebook program?
Okay, yes, everything can be graded. My Big Campus will auto-grade things like multiple choice and true-false, where you have a very specific answer that you have indicated when you've created the quiz. Any questions like essay responses, the teacher, of course, would have to go in and evaluate and mark down the points and manually score it. All of that is, of course, recorded. One thing I forgot to mention when I was on Schoolwork is that when you create questions, if you link them to your standards and you are consistent in doing that, there's also an academic reporting feature that you can use that will show student mastery by standard. Of course, you'd need to be linking every question to a standard, and you'd need to be doing that consistently for that academic reporting to really be effective for you. But that's a wonderful option as well. You can export to a spreadsheet, which can then be imported into most student management systems. We use Harmony, and that's something that we can do. We can export from My Big Campus Schoolwork to a spreadsheet and then upload that into Harmony. I believe there is a PowerSchool export option, but I have no experience with PowerSchool, so I don't know quite as much about how to do that. But I see Libby has answered that question there, that you can import into PowerSchool as well. So there isn't really an internal gradebook in terms of, you know, something like you used with PowerSchool or Harmony or some of those other really big options. It's not quite the same as that, but you can export and then import into those different programs. And, in terms of parents, go ahead. In terms of parents being able to see the grades, I know that most of our parents log in with their student's account and they can see the same thing the students can see. There is an entire parent portal as well. My particular school district has not taken advantage of that yet, but that's also something that that Libby and Chrissy may be able to tell us a little bit more about. But if you do go through the Orientation Center and take a look at the materials on the parent portal, that would give you a lot more information where the parents, of what the parents can see within My Big Campus.
And there was a question a little bit earlier. Is there, and I don't know if this would be a question for you or if Libby or Chrissy could speak to this, but is there a list of SIS, I guess, is there a list of those that are compatible? But it sounds like it's an export-import thing.
Correct. I believe that's the way it works.
Okay. And I got some background noise. I'm going to mute. There were a few questions about the compatibility with Google and with Google Apps for Education, and Libby spoke to that, saying that it looked like her answer was yes, they are compatible. My Big Campus is compatible with Google, so that's pretty exciting.
Right, you can, yeah, you can connect your Google account. Right up here, if I hover over, If I click on this, by the way, I'll go to my own profile. I've made that mistake a few times. You just want to hover over it, and then there's this tab here that says Applications. And if I go there, I can connect my Google account, my Windows SkyDrive account, Twitter account, or Facebook account. So you can connect all those different applications to my Big Campus, and then I would be able to access my Google Docs through my Big Campus as well.
Excellent. It looks like we've got about 5 minutes left, so if anyone has any questions, it looks like one more just came in, but keep sending questions in, and if you don't get them answered, maybe Rachel and Libby could share their email addresses if they are willing to in the chat box too. They are both wonderful contacts for my Big Campus. So I guess Tracy's question looks to be, can students connect those accounts as well to their My Big Campus?
I think that goes back to, again, what your administrator settings have allowed. In our district, we have not allowed students to do that, but I think that is a customizable option. I do have my contact information here up on the screen. If you were able to find this group on My Big Campus and join it, and I see I still have some requests coming in, which is fine, I'll approve those, but this is on that same page, so if you would prefer to communicate with me in another means, you can do that. Any place you find my name and my little signature avatar there, you can click on that and send me a message either on my wall or through the messaging area of My Big Campus. There's my Twitter ID and my email, and also my phone number, and I would certainly love to help you anytime that I can.
Excellent. I hear more and more every day about more and more schools going to My Big Campus, so I know it's becoming very popular. It was very exciting, you know, the changes that were made to it this summer, and it sounds like a lot of people are pretty excited about it. Any other questions?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you have a question? Maybe he doesn't. Any other questions as we finish up? And a big shout out to Libby and Christy. I don't know Christy, but apparently Christy is another member of the My Big Campus team who joined us. So thanks to both of them for helping with the questions in the background.
Yes, I appreciate that a lot. It's really hard to present and watch the chat feed at the same time, so I appreciate you guys answering those questions for me.
It looks like there was one other question. Justin asked, how do you create a code, which I assume that's a group code?
Okay. Yes. Once you've created the group itself, right over here there's a button. If you're the owner of the group, you have this button that says Admin Options. And there's quite a few different options of things you can do. A lot of these are maybe at the end of the year when you're getting ready to transition to a new year with a new group of students. You'd want to take advantage of a lot of these options. But right here under Edit, I can go in and change the name of my group or my description, or I can add an auto-approve code. When I've already established one on this group, but it would say add code, and then it would automatically generate this code that I can then distribute to people to give them that means of automatically getting into the group. And somebody gave me this tip, and I thought it was a really wonderful tip. You guys have probably all been in that situation where you can't quite tell if it's an L or an I. So if it generates a code that's got some of those questionable letters that people might get stumped up on, you can always just remove the code and have it generate a new code until you get one that you like. That's what I did, to find one that I thought was pretty simple and that people would be able to use. So you would just generate that code and then, of course, save your group. And once you've done that, then it'll give that Join with Code button available, and anybody who has that code can put it in and access it.
All right. Well, it looks like it is 5 o'clock. I just, real quick, I just sent out in the chat box. I will send out in the next, probably not today or tomorrow, but early next week, I'll send out a PGP documentation email to everybody so that you can get your PGP points for this hour. When you signed up for the webinar, you entered your email address, but if you connected via an iPhone or an iPad, it likely did not ask you for that email address. Therefore, I don't get them in my report. So if you would like that PGP documentation, please, you can send it to me privately in the chat box, or you can send it to my email address, which I am entering in the chat box. Just send your name and your email address. And also, if you had other people sitting with you at your computer who are not signed in, you can also send me their name and email address, because I know that I had a few people contact me that they were going to have a group or a smaller or a large group of people on the call, so send that information to me. But and also, like I said, we will be having an My Big Campus and NROC webinar this time next Thursday. NROC and NBC Learn are both partners who have just recently been added to My Big Campus, so their resources are available directly through My Big Campus, and that is a really exciting opportunity. NROC, if you're not familiar, it stands for the National Repository of Online Courses. So from that title, you can kind of gain an idea of what that will be. But Libby Lowry and then a member of the NROC team will be doing that call next week. So we're really excited about that. Visit our website to sign up for that, to get the link to that webinar. And it doesn't look like any other questions have
Mary,
come.
Justin has asked where the video will be, the recording of this webinar. He's asking where he will be able to find that.
Okay, and if you go to our website, which I just entered the URL in right there, I think I typed it in right, DOE.gov, and you'll click on the 21st Century Learning link or the Professional Development link on the left side of the screen. But this is all part of the 21st Century Learning Lab. That's what we call this group. But that will be available in about a week. It all depends on how long it takes me to archive that, to get that, the video, and then to get it archived. And we did do an NBC Learn webinar. If you see that in My Big Campus, we did do an NBC Learn webinar a few weeks ago. We've actually done 4 over the last year. So those are all available there. But yes, go to our website, go to the 21st Century Learning Lab, and you'll be able to get to all of our archived webinars. Anything else, Rachel, before we sign off?
I don't think so. Thank you for letting me be a guest presenter for you.
Well, thank you very much for doing this for us. It's awesome to hear from somebody who uses and trains on it every day on how this is. And thank you for sharing your contact information and your group. And I'm sure you'll have new members and new people asking you questions.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening and a great weekend coming up, and hopefully some of you will be able to join us for the Twitter chat tonight. That's INE Learn Twitter chat, and maybe we'll see you next Thursday for the NROC webinar. Thanks a lot.